Hey everybody, I'm Tami Kiekhaefer. I'm a licensed clinical social worker.
And my name is Desiree Grimaldi. Welcome to Unguarded Minds Podcast, where we talk about all the nitty gritty trauma and drama of life. Today we have a special guest with us, Jim Tomaszewski.
Perfect. Don't start today. You get it.
Yeah. So you are here to talk about your story and how you empower children around abuse and learning to find their voice and speak up for themselves. And we are so excited to dive into that and hear about what led you through that, and then how people can find you and what your mission is today.
Sure. Well, start from the beginning.
Yeah.
Welcome.
You want me to start at first grade, second grade, or just jump right into it? Just
jump right into it.
Well, when in the old days, there wasn't levels and scales and all the things we have today and learning abilities and all this other wonderful stuff. Back then they labeled you or they didn't label you, and that was it. Okay. And because I'll be 62 this year, so we go way back. I mean, it was right after indoor plumbing got invented. The automobile was there. It was way back then. So very Catholic family. Went to Catholic school, believed in God and fellow man, and be kind and nice and respectful and help each other, whether it's, the Mrs. Savitsky who's raking her lawn and you went out and you raked her lawn with her because, that's what you were supposed to do as a human being. Mrs. Savitsky was 70 years old, for God's sakes, and you were 12 or 10 or 9, and you could do that, so you helped her, but you didn't expect anything back from it. And you did the shoveling of the snow or whatever it was, and you did it because you wanted to. Well, when I was younger, I was a Catholic altar boy, was abused by priests that, whether they were the visiting priests, I don't even know how they classified them, like it really matters, but, come on, right? Like, that makes me feel better, right? Oh, he wasn't an everyday priest, well, that makes me feel so much better now, and I never had, that safe haven in life, though I'm a ginormous person who can't even fit in the screen and two of you fit in the same screen. I played sports. I was excelled on the field. That was my safe haven. On the court, on the diamond, I superseded, everybody. I went through college and, invited into the pro world for a while type of thing and play against them. And, but I never had any self-worth and respect for myself for who I was. And I never understood why, and going through college and I remember one psychology teacher I had, who pulled me aside when I was like 19 years old. And, he said, look, you're the funniest person I've ever met in my life. Everybody loves you who meets you. You need to just let it go in life and understand things and understand that you actually shit bigger than most people are. And that was my tipping point in life. Yes, I said those words, but he said that to me because he had to make it crystal clear to me. He couldn't fluff that. He couldn't put powder on it or sugarcoat it. He had to explain it to me exactly how it was. And it was funny because he's probably like, I don't know, 5 feet tall, and here he is looking up, and I'm looking down at him. And he said, come on, let's go to the bar for a beer. So we went over and we talked and everything. And, though I struggled in life from things, I also have ADHD, which doesn't really help, reading wise, that's not for me, movie, picture, book, tell me, show me, I can understand. Give me a book, tell me to read it, and have a test on Friday. I'm screwed. Because there are 80% of the other people in the world too, as I find out in life. So I just decided, hey, when my kids were born, I became a husband first. Tried to be as good as I can, but I knew I wasn't the best. Because I just didn't know how to be it. No one ever taught me how to be that upstanding person or the person that I really wanted to be in life. So so when I had my kids, I said, no one's going to hurt my kids the way I was hurt. And I looked at a bazillion different programs out there to find something, anything to help my kids. And there was nothing. There's zero prevention, proactive programs for young children, not only in the United States, but in the world. And people say, oh, that's not true. That's not true. Look, yeah, you might get the Smokey the Bear that talks about forest fires, and you might get, Dare the Lion, whatever the line is, not to do drugs. Eddie the Eagle, don't play with a gun. But there was nothing comprehensive that a child of a young age could turn to and actually ask a question or rely on them, not to try to sell them something, come, we're this. Oh, and by the way, you can get your updated offer for, it was just do it for free and do it because you wanted to make a difference other than being just a statistic in life, okay? Just to be that, oh, you were one of these, labeled person, right? Everybody labels all of us for a reason, right? Yeah, everything is, you're this, you're that, you're that. And near the end of this, I'll tell you about an incredible worldwide day that we're hosting to stop it. And it is going to stop it. It's going to be a movement. It's not just a day. It's just not a celebration. It's a way of life that if you don't do this, we're calling you out on it. Okay? We're done. We're done with you making excuses in life. Well, you killed 5 people. Well, you killed 3. Yeah, but I only killed 3 people. You killed 5. I mean, the insanity of
ridiculous.
Even our politics in life, right? You did this, you did. Doesn't matter what side of the fence. I don't give a rat's ass what side of the fence you're on. They all do whatever it is that they say the other one's doing. Okay, that's how you know that they're doing it, is because they're telling you the other people are doing it. So we got to just stop it. So it gets called out. So back to the days when my children were born, we created, we looked, we searched. We found out that there was no programs that would proactively help our children talk about the easy stuff like, don't stick your finger in a light socket, to who is a stranger. When we say that, when we use that word, what does that mean? And when mommy and daddy says, look both ways before you cross the street, do they mean look this way? Do they mean look that way? And what am I looking for? Hippopotamuses or giraffes? I mean, what am I looking for? Because we say words that we know what they mean to our children, but we don't explain what those words mean to the children. So all they know is words. You ever see on TV where, somebody says, well, I told them 1,000,000 times, don't jump in a lake. Well, did you ever tell them why? Did you ever show them? Did you ever teach them why you don't jump in a lake instead of just saying it 1,000,000 times? I mean, don't talk to strangers. What does that mean to a kid in life? It's so hard for them to understand, because what is your idea of a stranger? What is a stranger? Who is a stranger? And that's what Lil Iguana really teaches. And another thing we found out to be true is everything needs to be learned through music. And this is the test. This is why people say, oh, you're full of baloney, you're full of crap, What did you learn in 1st grade? What did you learn in 2nd grade? What did you learn in 3rd grade? But if I played the music that was on the radio during the time when you were in 1st grade and you were in 2nd grade and you were in 3rd grade, you would sing the words to the songs. Well, isn't that just a miraculous thing that you can know the music from things that you weren't even learning, you were just hearing, you weren't learning, but yet we don't teach that way. So what we decided to do was take everything that we have to teach. There's 22 lessons we have right now. Put it to music, set it up so that if a mom or a dad or a grandma or a grandpa, because grandmas and grandpas are raising their grandkids. I mean, it's like 30, 40% now, okay? So they're raising their grandchildren, okay? So give them something that they can use that's simple, stupid. And I say simple, stupid because that's how I learned. Simple, stupid. It has to be the simplest form, and then I can understand it. If it's, out here, I can't get to there. So you need to teach me simple. So we create things for people to use, whether it's to download or to use it. And when we first started, my family said, "You're crazy," but they supported me. Now they say I'm extremely crazy and, not so much support, but, hey, they still love me. Okay. Get a tie on Father's Day. I'm all right. I'm okay with that. Right. So we decided that as a family, they would help. So my children, we had other people doing Little Iguana and performing it. And then as my kids were growing up, coming to these events, they said, "Hey, Dad, can we help?" They learned how to get on stage, which actually led to my son becoming an incredible DJ, like 70,000 people listen to him go boom, 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 music, that we used to stomp on the floor and go, "Turn that stuff down, will you?" And now he makes tons of money off of that, but, and my daughters got involved and they sang and they helped and they performed and, they built stuff and they helped us write books. And as a family, we grew, and it was incredible because though my kids were with me all the time and doing things, it wasn't so burdensome. It was actually a pretty cool feeling that I miss in my life today because my children are 37, 36, and my baby will be 30 years old next year, and it makes me sad, because I loved them. I really wanted to be their dad, the best dad I could to protect them. And we saw everything. We saw movie stars. We saw athletes. We were on the field with Tom Brady and Gronkowski and Danny Edelman and, on a court with the Celtics or, and in spring training in Florida with baseball players or movie stars. You go to our website, you'll see old movie stars, but they're movie stars, and TV people and astronauts talk about us. And though we saw all of that, the best thing was all the kids we saved, whether it's a 3-year-old who was tied up and sexually abused in their child care facility by the people that ran it. Because of our harm alarm program was strong enough for that child to absorb it, understand it, and know, oh my goodness, this isn't what Lil Iguana tells me it should be like. So it helped him come forward, even though he was threatened. I'm going to kill you, kill your mom, kill your dad. Your friends will be taken away, which people do. I mean, adults do those to little kids to scare the crap out of them so they don't talk. So here's this 3-year-old not wanting to go to school. Their parents are bringing him to school, right? What is he thinking about his parents now? Because his parents are demanding that he goes to this monster who's doing this. So 6 months before this person came into the school, Lil Iguana did a program, and we talked about harm alarm, buckle up, helmet, safety. Told them, yeah, anything that makes you feel funny inside, you need to share it with someone you trust. So though they brought him to the doctors because he started regressing, soiling his pants, nightmares, all the symptoms of abuse, the doctor says it's growing pains. He'll get over it. So he's driving home. He tells his mom, "Mommy, we have to call Lil Iguana because Lil Iguana said he'd help me." That was our first success story 27, whatever years ago, a lifetime ago. It was the first time that brought us to the White House under presidents. We've been down there maybe 5 times under 2 different presidents, the Rose Garden, the Oval Office, you name it. That means nothing to us at all. It's that child, that one little boy that got saved that day that meant the world to us. Then you see that it works at such a young age, because you see a 3-year-old. How many people would have ever thunk that a 3-year-old could learn something? Because when we first started, we were told teaching this to young children was stupid because they don't understand it. Well, I guess we're the rocket scientists now, and they're not such the PhDs that they claim that they were back in those, in that day. So the program shows that it can work at a young age, but it shows that it can be remembered, which is really the astounding aspect of it, because it's music. So here's a little girl who's, when we do our live musicals, we bring kids up on stage. They come up on stage. They do different, whether it's buckle up, whether it's look left, look right, look left again type of thing. She came up to do run, 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 yell, and tell. It's what you do if someone's trying to get you to go with them and you don't have permission. You don't get close to them. You don't go with them. You don't do things like that. what you do is you run away. You yell things like, help me, this isn't my mom, or help me, this person's trying to take me. Because when a little kid says words like that, adults go, what? If the kid is just screaming and yelling, they go, please take the kid home, will you? So you need to use your words correctly. So the first thing is you run away. And where do you run? You run up to a mom with kids or into a store behind the counter to make a scene, to bring attention to yourself, which she did. And then all of a sudden, you tell somebody right away. So here's this 8-year-old little girl does run, 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 yell, and tell. 8 years go by, she's walking down the street, a level 3 sex offender tries to abduct her. Now, this level 3 sex offender is not taking her out for ice cream, and he's not taking her out to show her the park and the sights, okay? Level 3 means level 3. Awful person. Awful human being that should not be on the street in the first place, but because we have such pussy-driven laws by these little wimp-ass people that are supposed to protect our kids, they let him out on good behavior. Okay, on good behavior. So he gets out. And he tries to abduct this young lady. 8 years go by. She's 16 years old. She runs into the store screaming and yelling. The police show up. They said, how'd you get away? She said, that silly, stupid song. Run, 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 yell, and tell popped into her head. So we know that it works at a very young age. We know that it works at even an older age that they can remember. But here's one thing that we didn't count on, but it worked. We had a young mom who we taught the children, like, before you go anywhere in the car, you got to buckle up. So you've gone too quick if you don't hear the click. And the click means that your buckle's safe. Now the car can start and we can start moving, proceeding. Well, we taught the kids this, and the kids taught the mom that you have to, before the car was driving, you need to put on your seatbelt and everything. So we got a phone call months before the accident happened. We got a phone call being told that we were brainwashing their children that the car can't go anywhere before the seatbelts are on. Well, she doesn't wear a seatbelt. So she was so mad because her kids made her wear a seatbelt before the car went. Months went by. So she calls our office to tell us that she wasn't pleased with this. So months go by. She calls our office crying her eyes out, saying, oh my God, I can't believe it. I'm such a dumb fool. My SUV rolled over on the highway, and the state police officer said I'd be dead today if it wasn't for my seatbelt. And all she could think about was her children not having her mom. And she apologized, which is pretty freaking cool to me because nobody ever did that. And in 30 years of us doing this, no one ever did that. And it blew my mind. And it blew my mind because not only did I help a young generation learn how to do that, but I also helped an old dog learn a new trick, which is very hard to do in life, That's why we focus on young kids. We don't focus on older. We don't focus on, here's your parent, take it home. Because we've learned through our 30 years, there's 3 types of parents out there. There's the parent that plans to have their child, can't wait for it, sets up the room, got the books to read to them, has the lunch pail to meet them off the bus. When they come off the bus, we're going to hug them, we're going to kiss them, we're going to bring them in, we're going to read to them. We're going to help them be better than us, okay? That's the definition of a parent, to make your children better than you are. And if you don't see that, then don't be a parent, okay? Then there's some of us, oh, boy, I had a baby. How did that happen? Oh, wow, crazy world. Now I have to learn how to be a parent, okay? So I do the best I can. Sometimes not so good, sometimes not so bad. And then there's others that have them for monetary purposes. They sit around, they say, I can't function in life. I've heard this firsthand thousands of times, not even once or twice in a war, but how parents discuss with their young children, young girls, oh, you should be getting pregnant because, this is how they have a roof over their heads, how they have money coming in for themselves. And they plan it. Like we've had volunteers here where they plan every 5 years to have a child, and they've done it. And they're always on the system, and it helps them get by. Not saying they're wrong, not saying they're bad people in life. That is not my thing. That's the three different types of parents we found that are there right now. So what we want to do is we want to go after them and make it easy for them to be parents. We don't want to leave it up to the parents, because most of the parents, you give them something, they don't have time for that. Some of them are working 2 jobs. Some of them are going to go golfing or do whatever they do in life. Okay. We make it simple, easy, so that the kids can retain it and use it. So for 30 years of my life, this August 11th, we will be putting together, we have a worldwide day coming up called It's Easy to Be Kind. And everything, as I say, we deliver everything through music, everything through fun. So you can teach simplicity, simple lessons next to the real tough ones that you sometimes cringe when you have to talk about. Like, people say, do you do good touch, bad touch? We're not into that. That's our harm alarm, because that's very hard to explain if mommy washes you in the bathtub, or, you know what I'm saying? Like, if a teacher says, well, if somebody touches you down there, you should call the police. Well, here's a 4-year-old on 911. You know what I mean? Because they don't understand it, because they didn't teach what that meant. They just said it. Again, words, just saying words again, not actually explaining things. So what we try to do, again, we teach through the musical ways. August 11th is our 30th year. We're celebrating with It's Easy to Be Kind. And it's the biggest thing that Lil Iguana has ever done in our 30 years. And we've made Emmy award-winning television shows that have been seen in 7 countries. So it's not a little thing for us. It's huge. We have 50 artists from 28 countries that took part in helping us create a song called It's Easy to Be Kind. The whole day is based on treat others the way you want to be treated. And this is what we're trying to do. We're calling out people. You know how everybody says, I want world peace? And then 5 seconds after you get off of this whatever we call these things these days, computers, off of Zoom, we're talking about how crazy that person was, or what's that person, or we talk about them, right? We say things, and we've never even met them. See, the whole
They
day
do
is
that online now.
Exactly.
Keyboard warriors.
Oh God, yeah. I have whiskey. We called those whiskey muscles back in the days when you drink and you try to get in a fight. Nowadays, you got whiskey muscles, keyboard muscles. You're just like calling people whatever you want. And then when they come knock on your door, you shit your pants because you go, oh my God, it's a real person, right? We say things and we do. Like my Baba, my Gigi, they were a very big driving force. That's my Polish grandparents, okay? My Baba would say to me that you never believe something told to you by another person about that person unless you actually went and found out yourself. So you're going to tell me, Desiree is going to tell me that Tammy's an awful person. And I believe it, right? And I've never met Tammy before, but I believe it. That makes me a fool. Right off the bat, it makes me a fool. Because how do I know that? How do I know that you just don't like her and that's why you said that, okay? You have a hair across your ass because something she did or said or took your boyfriend or whatever it is that under the world that we discuss, whatever it is, you told me that. So I believe that. But it makes me a complete and total ass if I then go say that about Tammy in life and I've never found that out, okay? And how I know that is I listen to my friends say, oh, that guy's a racist. When'd you meet him last? I've never met him. How do you know? Oh, this guy's a thief. How do you know? Well, Johnny said it, Petey said it. Well, I do phone. When I was a kid, we used to do phone calls. So I would say something to you. You would say something to her. By the end of it, it was, go get me a hot dog. By the end of it, it was somebody killed somebody 3 times with a knife and then put a hot dog in their eye. And it's like, it's the same thing that we live on. We thrive on it. I listen to the news. Oh, so-and-so is this. Well, how do you know so-and-so is that? That guy has an agenda. That girl has an agenda. Their agenda was to get this guy elected. So why would they say something nice about that guy or this girl? Or, we got to stop. We got to stop it. And this is where we call it out. Treat others the way you want to be treated. If you truly believe that you want world peace, just come out and say it. Say, I don't. Say, that I want to be a total ass and say things about people that aren't true, and I'll be okay with it off the beginning. But if you're telling me that you want peace and you want prosperity and you want to help people and you want people to get along and you don't want war, then what you got to do is you got to treat others the way you want to be treated. And I'm not talking about the Bible, religious, do unto others as you wish to have done unto you. Because in this society, you can't say God or half the world hates you. And you can't say not God because the other half of the world hates you. So we're just down the human being road, okay? We're right down the human being road where you treat others the way you want to be treated. So before you say that about Tami, you got to ask yourself, do I want this said about me? And the answer is no, don't do it, because you know what it makes you? I don't even need to say it. Everybody knows what that makes you at that point in time, okay? And you could use whatever word you wanted to use, what it is, or adjective, or now, whatever it is. But don't do it. And the same thing about if you want to do something to another person. Ask yourself that same question. Because you know what? Other than that, there is no other law or reason, that you're allowed to do that. If you don't want it done to you, you don't do that. And if you do, then you should not be in society under human being. You should be put in as maybe animal or whatever it is you want to classify yourself. Because I'm sick and tired of it. As I said to my kids before when we started this, I want to make a mark on life. I want something to change, and something to change for good, not change because I'm going to make money off of you and you're going to make money off of me. Change because everybody does the same. You rake the lawn. You got some people, you rake the lawn. You got $100. I give you 50, I keep 50. You got some people that want to chisel it down to, I want to take 70 and give you 30. So I got to devise some sort of scheme to get more money from you and take from you. We got to stop that. We got to just cut it out. We got to teach our children from day one, from the moment that even in their womb, talk to them. Because you know what? Talking to your baby in the womb, it fires synapses. And people don't think that it's true. Play music for your baby. It fires off synapses, because when you get older, you come out, your synapses stop firing. You lose them. They stop to exist. So we have geniuses that are babies born. Babies are born geniuses. We just dumb them down, because we don't stimulate them. We don't, get them going at a very young age. So that's what we're trying to teach with everybody and everything. Just teach your children before you do something or you say something. This should be taught in school every day. They should stand up, and they got rid of the Pledge of Allegiance and whatever else they get rid of, right? Have them stand up, because no one can argue about this. Stand up and say, treat others the way you want to be treated. I'm going to be a kind person. What are they going to say about that? Oh, that's whatever. That's, whatever classification that they're going to tell me it's under, you're crazy. Yeah. Well, we already know that. I mean, nobody works 30 years and, loses their house 27 times in 30 years. You know what I mean? So you got to be crazy. But for us, our whole mission is keep our kids safe, bring them up at a young age. And why do we do it at 2 to 8? Because most abused and neglected is cradle to 3 right now. I don't know if you guys know that. The stats, when we first started, we had to fight and argue because we were told it was 9 to 12. And we said, no, it's not. It's just that your stupid test that you have skewed to show it's 9 to 12. It's much younger than that. Today, it's cradle to 3. That's the most abused, neglected, and unwanted age group in society. And do you know your foundation in life, whatever you want to call that foundation, your human foundation, your moral foundation, it's set by 5 years old. So if you think that for 1 second you're going to start teaching kids at 10 and 12 years old about things that they should have learned at 1, 2, and 3 years old, you're out of your minds. You're totally crazy out of your minds, thinking that you could miraculously teach something that should have been instilled in them way back when they were forming their moral foundation, okay? And people are foolish. People go, oh, we're going to just come up with this new program. Look at this here. We're going to put it into middle school. Great. Fabulous. Go put it into middle school. It ain't going to work. Because, you got to teach them at a young age.
So, Jim, we have a couple more minutes, but you've talked about your kids. You mentioned you were abused in the past. When did you talk to your kid? Like, did you share your abuse or your experiences with your kids?
No one. Because as a kid, have you ever tried? If you were a teenage boy trying to tell somebody about that back then, you'd be named, shamed,
No, but I'm
labeled.
saying as far as when you were an adult,
They
did you
knew it
tell your
after.
kids?
They knew it 60 years later. A couple years ago. As my parents died and stuff. You could share it, talk about it, do it. Just different worlds, different worlds from back then to now. You didn't talk about it. You just bulled through it.
Did they wonder, where your passion came from and behind your cause and what you're doing? 'Cause you've been doing this for 30 years, but no one ever knew what happened to you.
Yeah, no, they just loved their dad. Their dad went to every one of their baseball games and their gymnastics and their swim meets and their volleyball and their track and field and their baseball and their bands, and their dad set up their bands for them.
Yeah.
That's
Was
what
this
they knew.
was
That's
this
what they
kind
knew.
of was this a therapeutic way for you to work through what happened? Yeah. Hmm.
Try to find an ending,
Yeah.
right? Try to
Yeah.
find
Do
try to
something
find an
about it.
ending to your world, where whatever.
So your program and stuff, is that something a parent would have to seek out to get, or school sharing it, or like, because if a child's being abused by their parent's obviously not going to buy them or let
Sure,
them listen to your program. So
sure.
what are the
Yeah.
avenues that you get that
Well,
out there?
we recommend the schools do the live musicals, or there's different ways. Like everything we did prior to the pandemic was live musicals. Our dream was to set up a tour across the United States, go into every elementary school, set up troops in all the different states, and perform the live musical face to face, because that was the best way for kids to learn anything. And then the pandemic hit. And, I had to jump off a bridge if I wasn't afraid of heights. Thank God for phobias. That's all I got to say, okay? It was awful. No schools, no community events, no fundraising. What do you do? Oh my God. We've been doing this for 26 years. We can't do anything except pray to God, yeah, that really destroyed us. So then we put everything online. It took us 3 years, tons of dedication and suffer and time, but we put it up online, and we created a site, a portal, educational portal called Safety Up. And you could pick a lesson, and let's say today you want to talk about buckle up. You download the songs, the music, you download the activity sheets, the different crafts, the different snacks, and you learn as you're having fun. So it's not like a lesson, like take out your pencils and sit down and we're going to go over this. It's, hey, it's a coloring sheet. It's a word find. It's a maze. It's write your own story, because we all learn differently. I can't do a word find, but you can do a word find. And you're a great artist, so you could make a beautiful picture, but mine is a stick figure. So I created it so it doesn't leave anyone out. Whatever their strong feats are, they can use it, but they're listening to music and absorbing it, so that it doesn't matter what else they're doing as long as that music is being played for them.
So
So that
you bank on schools to bring your program into their schools. I think as
sure.
Desiree was saying, a cradle to three doesn't have the skills to find you online, and their parents probably
No,
aren't
no,
going to
no,
say,
no, no.
"Hey." So yeah, how do you?
So what we do is, like, from Head Starts, from child care
Okay.
facilities, that's usually 3, 4 or 5 years old. That's where we start.
Hmm.
That's where we started.
Yeah.
Our end is like the 2 to 3, and it's simple. It's just music so that they absorb it and learn it.
Yeah.
And then as it gets a little older, then they can do the activities, the older activities to it. But we would go into school, we'd set up, sing and dance, do a whole stage show, kids at the end would get an activity book that has all the lessons and everything that we went through. They remember the music, they participated in it. But the schools can buy the online curriculum now. They can just take the portal and use it for the whole school. So there's 20 classes that can use Safety Up if they wanted to. We also created, and here's something that's really, really cool that I almost forgot. You know, a lot of people have reading programs, right? The proficiency level in the United States is less than 30% reading proficiently. In some states, it's 0% reading proficiency level, or cities and towns. And other places like New Hampshire, I think we're the highest. And I think we have a 40% reading proficiency level. And we're the highest. And we're so proud of it. So 60% can't. Other places like Connecticut, I think there's 17 or 13% reading proficiency. So 87 can't read. So we said, well, what's the problem? Well, the reading programs that they have out there, the literacy programs, they hand you a book and they say, here you go. Well, if I don't know how to read, what does this book do for me? Nothing. It does nothing. And if I can read, what does this book do to me? And it's like, nothing, you know, I mean, because I already can read. So what we've done is we made a book, and I said, okay, how about if we put a QR code in the book, and then you scan it, and then you're sitting there listening to the book read to you, so then parents don't have to read 72 times to their kids. They can have the storyteller on Lil Iguana read to them in different voices and, you know, character voices. And it teaches different lessons, everything that Lil Iguana teaches. We have a gift from the heart. The next one's called The Online Secret, about being safe online. And we teach at a younger age because we want them to know what's going on before they get online, not after they go missing and, you know, and we don't see them again. And we'll have 8 more of the series that come out. We have just so much to offer people, so much to get in front of and let people know about what we do and how it's easy to really teach your kids this stuff. Just don't say it, you know, just actually teach them, please, you know.
So it's Lil Iguana, Lil, right? Is that how? What,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, we used to call it little with the 2 T's. We used to say little iguana, but you know what little kids can't say? T's. They can't say T's. So they would get so mad at me when I'd say, oh, it's little. And they'd get, and I'd be like, no, it's little. So now we just said, hell with it. Lil is fine for me. Here we go.
So how can people find you? Is there what's the website? And
we have the website. We're actually going to link it below, and it shows his Storytime podcast, safety and well-being lessons, fun in the sun, color run, activity boxes for kids. So we have that whole list on the
cool.
link that you provided for us, and we'll make sure.
Share that book with people, because I'll tell you, we've been having adults buy it because it teaches English as a second language. And I had no idea that was even a thing until people came up to me and in broken English thanked me for that book. So cool.
Very cool.
Well, we thank you so much for joining us and sharing your story. And we'll definitely link everything below so that people can follow you and get their kids on your program.
Excellent. And if you ever need us again, we have many, many more colorful stories to tell. And just appreciate your time and bearing with me babbling on.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Nice to meet you. Take care.
Take care.